Rome Odunze
Mhm.
is an interesting player because I think, do you see him as closer to the Marvin Harrison neighbors or closer to the wide receiver for whoever that is? Do you think he's closer to that group or closer to the elite group? And the reason I mentioned Matt Harmon is because I think it was the first time ever that it was like you know, he literally lit up like a Christmas tree on his reception perception, green everywhere on every route
Right.
run, which is, you know, pretty awesome.
Yeah, because I don't feel very confident about who wide receiver 4 is.
Sure.
I will say right now it's definitely Rome is closer to those other guys. And like Harmon, Waldman, those guys love him. I've mentioned this on JJ's show a couple weeks ago. Like, I lean into what the really smart people say about these prospects because, like you, I don't watch very much college football during the season. And yeah, I get into the advanced stats and I get into the film, but there's people that are better at certain aspects of the job than I am, and this is one of those. And so I think he's a pretty clear wide receiver 3, and there's a pretty big tier break after him.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. You know, one of the things that our model was trying to identify was, if we look back, right, there's been a lot of misses in the first round or, you know, even in the second round when it comes to players like Quentin Johnston, N'Keal Harry, Terrace Marshall, you know, just a lot of big outside, you know, sort of X receivers that look like, you know, Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas, Keon Coleman, Ad Mitchell, right? They sort of play that role. And so that role of contested catch outside guy, so to speak, gets pretty dinged in our model. So Rome, first of all, the fact that they get dinged in the model and Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of the 4 or 5 best prospects in the model tells you everything you need to know about him as a player. He's going to be fucking awesome. But Rome also survives the model. And I think a lot of that is because of just how excellent he is, you know, at a lot of other things. So I agree with you that Rome is that good. We do have a player that beats him in the model this year, but he's not going to be my wide receiver 3 over Rome, as Rome will be.
I think there's a couple of things there. And one of them is, it's kind of like the Xavier Worthy discussion after he ran the 40 and, oh no, is he too fast?
Right.
No, he's just a really awesome football player who's also faster than everyone else.
Yes.
He's not going to get drafted in the first round just because he's so fast.
Bingo.
And I think that, like, there's probably not very many guys, and I don't think Harmon had the names that you mentioned probably charted very many of them in college, but there's probably not very many of those guys, those big, and I've talked about it too, like those guys have missed a lot. Hakeem Butler.
Yep. There's another one.
Those guys were not lighting up the Christmas tree green. I mean,
No,
it was still lit up, but some lights are red. And so, yeah, I just think that while he does share some similarities to those types of wide receivers, he's so much better, particularly at route running, that I don't have the bust concerns with him that I do with, like, I have more concerns with Brian Thomas. I have big concerns with AD Mitchell. I don't really have any with Rome.